This is in order of, if I recall, the barbecue chicken bacon ranch. Mac and cheese. From the Mac Rollin' food truck. That was part of the food trucks at the ZBTB food truck rodeo and concert event that was at pretty much at the town hall today. I got it so I would have something to eat later at Dad's place. After having a collectible, but with a K instead of a C, a collectible. No, actually it's commendable, meaning memorable, Kona Ice Cup. A whole new one, since Mom didn't think about getting the old such cup. That had a U.S. flag pattern on it. For, if I recall, the 4th of July. And then I got from a similar event last year. As getting me to the event, it was pretty lucky for me, as it was last minute. I found out that it would start today. Around 5:30 p.m. After I thought to check one of the Talk of the Town newsletters. Around 4:45 p.m. when I was thinking of going to bed, even though I didn't really feel tired, because I had stayed up later than yesterday. And felt I should be rested before doing the detailing for the Titleist golf ball. After finishing all the dimples, small circles on that little polystyrene ball, around 3:30 p.m. after hours of semi-focused work. Just drawing those small circles, trying my best to stick to the pattern of 6 circles surrounding each circle. I didn't always manage to follow that pattern, but I think I did pretty well. I also generally tried to keep all of the circles the same size. But a little variation is ideal in this case. As according to the reference image, the dimples are somewhat uniform when it comes to their size, but not entirely uniform. Luckily around 5, or a little before 5 p.m., Mom called back after calling her about 2 times. And I believe from 5:45 p.m. to about 7 p.m., we were at the event. And got something at the food trucks. I went to the Waffles Are Wild food truck. I got their Queen of Hearts order, which is essentially waffles with strawberry filling. Waffles and strawberries, strawberry topping on top of the waffles, whipped cream on top of the strawberry topping, and some chocolate drizzle on top of the whipped cream. Had a little small thing of bottled water that Mom brought in a cooler with it. I recall generally carrying the cooler. It was like a blue square lunchbox with insulated material. The kind of thing you might put an ice pack or 2 in to keep food cool. Then we went to the Kona Ice food truck, where I got a new, for $7, collectible Carmenable big Kona ice cup, and on it I pretty much filled the cup with syrup. First Tiger's Blood, then Lucky Lime, and then Island Rush. To the point where at the end, with the plastic spoon, I was eating spoonfuls of pure syrup after eating all of the ice first. All of the shaved ice first. Initially, on the car ride back to Dad's place, this spilled slightly within the cooler, but thankfully just slightly, and I managed to eat the small handful of noodles that spilled out. I noticed when there was some sauce, as it turns out cheese sauce, or another one of those small water bottles within the cooler. At the food truck where I got the Queen of Hearts waffles order dessert, Mom got a side order of their chicken tenders, and when I was done with the Queen of Hearts, and Mom kindly gave me a chunk of one of the chicken tenders to try. It was pretty good. I pulled an all-nighter at Dad's place, and around 6:15 in the morning had some sourdough, if I recall correctly. Don't seem much like sourdough to me, though. Bread slices with peanut butter and jelly. I ate the slices separately, with the first cup of coffee from the morning pot. Of which I recall having roughly 3 cups or so from 6:15 in the morning to about noon at the latest, though probably ending earlier than that. If for some reason noon stands out as the most likely time, though. Around 1:30 p.m., I had essentially some celery with peanut butter, with 2 hot dogs that I sliced, with a glass of water like this one. Only I may or may not have used a different cup at the time. I didn't, it turns out. I recall during the morning hours completing province encounters through negotiation, since that takes less time than completing them through combat encounters, in order to be able to unlock a province city expansion, which I used here and used to move the Astral Phoenix generally away from this area so I could ultimately rearrange all of the Umini settlement buildings and ultimately find a way to build 3 new goldsmiths and reach the amount needed to complete this side quest for the chapter. Though I ended up having to sell one of these palm gardens, as there was no way I could connect it to the Temple of Dunes. Couldn't even really properly connect this building, this residence building, but it still works just fine because this bit of road is still attached to the main hall. And it works just fine. For the earlier hours I was at Dad's place, it was about room temperature, maybe just a tiny bit above it. But I think by 11 in the morning, it was hot to the point that I was sweating considerably. And it continued being that hot until I went to bed around 7, somewhere between 7 and 8 p.m. and woke up hours later. Yeah, I'm not sure if closing both windows as was suggested to me contributed towards or against that, but right now it's a comfortable room temperature again. The fact that it was hot enough that I was sweating considerably by the time I finished all of the dimples of that Titleist Golf Ball Polystyrene drawing project also contributed to why I considered going to bed initially at the time that I did. The detailing for the golf ball would involve exact copying from a reference image or two in order to make it a believable Titleist golf ball drawing. It seemed there was too great a risk of accidentally getting sweat on the project. Around 4 p.m., I briefly logged in to the launcher of Iron Rage for the first time in months. It had been so long that I had thoughts that I had lost my account due to inactivity, but thankfully I hadn't. Even though I don't really play Iron Rage anymore, or at least not these days.